Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Varied Life. Steve here, the retired hobby tech guy. And today, what we're ended up doing, we're talking about the Creality K2 Plus. Works great, but yeah, it's a gamble, especially in the world of 3D printing. It used to be that way with resin printing. Resin printing got to a place of where it was like, it was kind of a gamble. You had to do a lot for leveling and so many other things and trying to get good prints and dialing in all the variables in your resin and but the technology has come so far to the point now in resin printing that basically once they make it so easy. If you look at the Hay gears, the ultra craft reflex, whatever it is, RS, their system is you put the resin in, you click the model, support, print, boom, and you're done. It is amazing on how far technology has come. And third party slicers are doing pretty well with pre supporting. But we're talking about resin or FDM 3D printing. So it's got a little while to catch up, and basically, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's basically a spool of plastic thread that gets put into a thing called an extruder, which basically heats up the plastic thread until it melts, and then it pushes it out a nozzle and lays down a layer by layer by layer of the item or the model that you're trying to print. So, pretty amazing stuff. And over the years, 3D printing in FDM has been, has been print and miss. And where early on it was just like you spent more time fixing your 3D printer than actually printing. You became a tinkerer. And if you could get something to print, that was a bonus. It's basically how it came. But then advancements in technology came along, and what we ended up seeing was more and more people coming up and more advancements in technology and making it easier and easier to use. So it's pull it out of the box, plug it in, and do some auto leveling, auto calibrations, just like we did with the K2 Plus that I got. Did the unboxing, did all that stuff, and we printed out a benchy, and it worked. Another company has done an excellent job was Bamboo. It's probably between Prusa and Bamboo. Those are probably the two big heavy hitters. Of course, there's some other companies out there as well, but those are I think would be the most notable in that what they ended up doing was creating FDM printers to where you could pull it out of the box and you could print, and it was really user easy. It took away the mechanical degree that you needed to have to fix these things and print stuff. And then it just continued on. And other companies caught up, kind of like, with Creality and, just a number of other companies jumping on the bandwagon. But Bamboo was kind of in the lead. And it ended up that they kind of shot themselves in the foot with their authorization thing. But I digress. We're talking about the Creality K2 Plus, and we're going to talk about some of the things here. So we printed some stuff out. First thing being this right here, which was our very first benchy, and it printed out really well. I don't know how well that's going to come out. Is that going to come out okay? Is that going to focus? Maybe not. Maybe we'll do better with the regular camera. Yeah, let's just go back to the regular camera. And what we ended up with is our benchy, and you can see how well that printed out. Just kind of amazing. Yeah, the benchy's the first benchy. But you can see the details on here is just quite incredible. There's a little bit of area like right along here. If you can see there on the overhang there, and then there was a little bit on the overhang there that was just a little bit odd, but the rest of it ended up printing up magnificently. I was super impressed. Out of the box, using Creality filament and letting the machine do its thing. We did that, and then we did some other prints. This is a print from something that I did for some desiccant trays, and it's white, so I apologize for that. But you can see the detail on that, a little bit of stringing, tiny bit of stringing, but it came out wonderfully. And we'll take a look at that. Then we ended up printing this right here for the lovely wife. And the beautiful rose that we ended up doing, I found this. This was a free print off of Creality Print. And I don't have green. I'm just using the stock filament that was with the K2 Plus. So when I printed this out, I was like, well, this needs to be green, and I don't want to buy green. So I was like, I wonder how well acrylic airbrush paint will adhere to PLA. And it was magnificent. It worked great. So we did that. We painted that green. And then we added in, after I painted it green, then I put on airbrushed a satin finish on this. So, and then printed out this little vase, which it's got a little bit of fuzz on there. I mean, that's meant to be there, but incredible, incredible stuff. And of course it washes out because it's white, but yeah, the cute little thing. The wife doesn't even know I made this, so I'm going to put this as soon as she wakes up. This will be the first thing she sees. So we did that, and then we ended up testing to make sure that the CFS was working, because a lot of people had problems with the CFS, and some of those problems stemmed from the Bowden tubes or the PTFE tubes not being properly connected, but mine ended up working well, and we ended up with the multicolor. And again, what we ended up with is a great, great print. So yeah, it's been a pretty cool little deal here. Dave says that's very detailed. Yeah, it is crazy the amount of detail that can come off. And we got a tiny bit of stringing right in there, but nothing that, I mean, for no calibration, and this coming right out of the box, pretty wild. So Dave ends up saying, I haven't any hobbies currently, but I've been watching your videos and I like working with my hands and being meticulous, and you do an absolutely astonishing job. Bro, thank you for the awesome comment. Yeah, when I retired and I needed something to do, and of course, Dave knows this, but other people might not, is what we ended up doing. The wife and I, we sold everything and we took a year off, and then we ended up retiring here in Korea. So yeah, to have something to do and to have some hobbies, this is definitely, yeah, this is something that we had to do. I had to do. I have to do something. So 3D printing has been really, really cool, and I really enjoy it. So yeah, we're digging it, to say the least. And especially when I give this to the wife, she's going to dig it even more. So here's a clue and a hint for those people, like guys that are like, ooh, 3D printing or laser engraving or resin printing or whatever it is. There's a ton of stuff that you want to do that looks cool, and that's absolutely fine. But to sell your spouse on it, you make some stuff for her first. That will go a long way. So just a little word of wisdom there from an old fogey to some of you young guys out there that are, want to get something. Don't print the Star Wars thing. Don't, all the stuff that you want to print. Don't print that first. Print stuff for your spouse first and make her special. And yeah, it'll go a long way. Dave says, it is a very expensive hobby. No, I mean, for the machine that I got, the K2 Plus with the multi-material system, it was $1,500. So yeah, that was kind of expensive. But there's the Elegoo Centauri Carbon out there, which is like $300. So you can get started in resin or in FDM 3D printing and not have to pay a ton of money. So it is The prices are coming down, and with a lot of these companies are from China, they can get products mass produced. They have lower wages that they pay their employees, and that benefits in a lower priced unit that we can end up getting. It's just kind of the joys of capitalism, if you think China and capitalism. But it worked out. Yeah, it's not bad at all. It is definitely that's not bad. No, it's not. And especially when we're getting to a time of where there's basically, these 3D printing companies are warring with each other to get a big hold onto the market. What we're seeing is they're becoming more efficient. They're getting better with the technology. They're reducing the costs and trying to get more of this into the hands, because it's like crack. In all honesty, they show you cool stuff that you can print, and car parts or whatever it is that you want to print. The sky's the limit with different materials, but it's basically a crack dealer. They offer you the first one, and they entice you, and then you got free models that you can print, and then you're hooked, and then you're done. So, but yeah, pretty interesting stuff. So. Let's go over some of the prints that we ended up doing. That's going to be interesting. So the very first one that we ended up doing, and let's do this. We will do this. And this is a time lapse, and it's only 7 seconds. And this is the Benchy, the first Benchy that we end up seeing there. Isn't that amazing? That is crazy. I mean, I wish it was that fast, but it's not. This Benchy ended up taking about, 23 minutes? But still, pretty darn good. And then the next thing that we printed out was, I can't remember if it was that one. No, it wasn't that one. It was this one here. And this was 2 trays to hold desiccant to go into the multi-material system. So yeah, it's pretty impressive, the walls and all that. And the other side, I wish it had the view of the other side, but it's already installed. But it ends up that ended up having just like a lattice type system on the other side, which was pretty impressive. The other thing we ended up doing is I did a portafilter holder, and as you can see there, printed that in black, and yeah, not real exciting because it's black on black, but the holder came out great and everything worked well. And then what we ended up doing is the multicolored Benchy. And let me see for a second. Let me just pull me down there. And there was the multicolored Benchy, and that tower in the back is a purge tower. So basically what happens with this is anytime that you switch filaments and it goes to a different color or different material, it's going to cut the previous color or material, and then it has to purge it out of the system, and then it's going to run a little bit of the color or material that it's going to print next to make sure that there's no bleed over and there's no contamination of color or material. So that was kind of impressive. And then what I ended up doing was printing the rose, which was this right here. Boom. Yeah, 2 seconds. I wish it would print that fast in real life. We did that, and then the last thing that we ended up printing recently was the little vase. And yeah, I'm just kind of crazy stuff. Pretty amazing. And it, if everything is working, then it just comes out great. So yeah, just some pretty impressive stuff with 3D printing and the quality and all that. And it's really getting to a place of where it's less and less of being a tinkerer, and it's getting to the point of where it's almost becoming an appliance. And I think Bamboo was the company that really set the bar high with their Bamboo series, their P1S and their P1P and their what's that? Their X1E and stuff like that. Dave's got a question. It says, so everything is designed on the computer and then it's programmed into the machine from the computer program. Yeah, that's basically it. And so you'll go to a web page. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do that. We'll take a look and I'll kind of show you what's going on. This is the Creality Cloud. And I signed up for the service. It doesn't cost anything, at least for this part. And it ends up that basically what you can end up doing is you can go up here and you can search for models, like let's say diorama, because that's what Dave is interested in. And let's see if we can do some models. And so, you could do stuff like this, and they have stuff that paid for or free. So let's just go for free because we want crack. Free crack is good, and so you could end up a little nativity scene. Let's say, oh, there's one. So a little diorama here for World War II. So yeah, you can end up printing, this little diorama thing on a 3D printer. And zoom in here. And you could print stuff out like that, and which is just kind of amazing on the details and stuff that you can get on this, which is, again, amazing. So, and then right here, what you could end up doing is that you could, click this and, could ready to print, and this will connect up and it'll open the Creality Print app that you have on your computer that you download, and it syncs it up. And of course, if your printer is on and, it's hooked up wirelessly to your printer, your 3D printer, or you could use a LAN cable or whatever. I could click that ready to print. It'll slice it, and if my printer was on, I could hit print, and boom, it would go. So that's kind of some amazing stuff. But yeah, up here, let's go back to the workbench, and any printers that you have hooked up will show up here. Mine's offline because it's not turned on. So we could do that. Let's see, but we could also devices, prints, print files. So this will show all the print jobs that I've done. And then if you wanted to print them again, you could print them again if you wanted to. Now these are all stored on the printer itself, and so you can store models on the printer because it has memory. Of course, you could do it online as well. You could do the time lapse, you could do playbacks of whatever. I'm not sure what that is. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff that you could end up doing with your printer. So, just kind of cool stuff. And it's kind of a page where it ends up that it takes a little bit of getting used to. I wish some things were a little bit more user-friendly, because it seems like there's, it's intuitive to a point, and then like trying to find time lapses. There should be something up here. So, on your main profile page, liked, purchased, downloaded, creations, uploaded, there's a bunch of stuff that I like, downloaded. There should be something here and to where you can find your time lapses, because now trying to find the time lapse is on the stuff. It's just kind of crazy on what you end up doing. You have to actually go back here, go to your print files, go to prints, and then go to time lapse. So it's kind of a weird thing. I wish it was just a little clunky in my opinion. Dave says, can you trademark things that you design all on your own? Yeah, you could, let's say you design a part for a thing, and that thing is something that, you design in CAD, Blender, or, whatever other program, Fusion 360. Let's say it's a part for a car or something, aftermarket part or something. And you could put a trademark on it. You could put a copyright. You could put a patent on it. You could do all that stuff. You could put a patent on anything, basically. So you could apply for that, a utility patent. You could put trademarks. But then again, it's kind of like the Wild West. And what I've noticed is that people who make stuff and it gets really popular, people will rip that off or make a different version of that. So copyright infringement is kind of a thing, and it's kind of a hard thing, but it is doable. But once you see something that becomes super popular, people start downloading it, and then they'll make different variations of it, and then that'll start spurring people. Hey, I never thought about making a rose and this or whatever, and doing the outline, and then a bunch of people are doing it. They're making their own versions, and it's not that hard to do it. So yeah, to answer your question, yes, you could trademark, you could utility patent, you could do all that stuff. Just depends on how far that you want to go with that. Let's see. There are some things that I want to talk about for the Creality, talking about, things that I like the K2 Plus. It's working. Granted, there's other people that got the K2 Plus, and they said, as soon as it got out of the box, they had problems ever since. Look up Uncle Jesse. He says when it prints awesome, which I agree. This is some incredible stuff that can be printed. But he's having problems, and he has tons of followers. He's a, YouTube celebrity for 3D printing, and he has to wait weeks and months to get repair parts, and they know he's Uncle Jesse. They know that he is huge when it comes to, doing reviews, and people look after him, look up to him for all his reviews and information. So it's taken a while for Creality to jump and get him the stuff that he needs, which begs the question, if everyday people like you and me have problems with our printers, how are we going to get the same treatment as Uncle Jesse, or it's going to take longer? One of the big things I've seen on Reddit is the complaints about Creality is their customer service and technical support. People have said, hey, I've emailed them, I've contacted them, left messages, and a lot of responses have been dismal. With that, there's other people that have said, hey, I had problems, boom. 2 weeks later, they send me the part, it fixed the problem. The other good thing is that Creality has a wiki page, and they reference that a lot. So you can search it on their site, like whatever printer, Creality wiki pages, Creality K2 Plus wiki page, and it will have the installation guide. They'll have common problems, troubleshooting, all of that to try to narrow down of what's wrong. There's the warranty program, so there's that. But what I have seen is a lot of people are saying that their WhatsApp contact, they're more responsive to that than anything else. They still answer. I'm not saying they don't answer emails. They do, or the trouble tickets that people put in. But it seems, by reading the Reddits and the threads and things like that, that their WhatsApp contact is, they're more responsive to that than anything else. And again, they respond to the other stuff. So I think there's a few things that they could end up doing. Obviously, the customer support, the technical support, but there's these other things here. Increase the ease of use with Creality Cloud app. And I would even go so far as to say, even with Orca Slicer, if they could support, it does support it, but that there's not a lot of how-tos on how to use, because they want you to funnel into their slicer, which is basically the same slicer that pretty much everybody else has, but they put their own skins and information and how they do it. Little tweaks, but it's basically about 95, 97% the same between all the slicers. And I get it. They need to funnel all their stuff in, but I wish there was more information. And I guess that just comes down to Orca. I need to just do more stuff in Orca and look at more videos and stuff like that. Yeah, the ease of use, the Creality Cloud app, I can actually come up on my phone, and with the Creality Cloud app, I mean, pick I can pick items out on my phone, and if my printer is online and I'm not even home, I can search for products. Like, let's go to Explore, and you can search for products. I can pick the product, send it to my printer, and it will print it, and I'm not even home. And I can monitor the print. I can actually, with the onboard camera, with the K2 Plus, I can monitor my print from my phone. It'll show it live. It'll stutter in some places like that. And even if I'm online here with the Creality Cloud web page, I can see what's being printed. I can show the camera feed and all that stuff. So pretty amazing. One thing I would say was update the installation guide. The installation guide that they provided was great, with a few minor exceptions, which... do I even have that? Yeah, I do. Forgot all about this. After sales service card, quick installation guide, and they've got some really cool stuff that explains, in great detail how to, put everything together. Of course, it's, in different languages, and basically it just goes through the packing list, and it goes through the unboxing, and then equipment specifications, and then, it just does the same thing over and over. So this is, even though it's thick, it's not really a quick installation guide. It just gives you kind of like the unpacking and stuff like that. What really comes into play is when you scan the QR code on the box, on the shipping box, and it comes up with the installation guide, which is good, but it's a little outdated. Like I said, there was the buffer that was put onto the back of the K2, and in the pictures that they had with their online installation guide, they had it on the CFS, and then in other pictures they had it on the K2. So it was kind of like, well, where do I put this? And then, so kind of the same thing here with the CFS system. It just basically talks about the packing list and just kind of details and some specifications. It's not a quick installation guide. It doesn't tell you how to hook it up. It doesn't, it's just like the accessory packing list. But what it does have is the Creality Cloud software, QR code, and stuff like that. So, quick installation guide? I don't know. I mean, scan the Creality QR code with your phone, unboxing information, unpacking, putting it together. You get that on your phone. So that is pretty good. But even then, the information that was on the setup guide, again, there was differing pictures, and they need to update that to better reflect, at least with the K2 Plus, on how you set that up. Because like I said, the buffer was on the CFS in one picture, and then on the another picture, it was on the back of the K2, and well, which one do we do? And so kind of go with the one that most people have, putting it on the K2. So a little continuity would come into play. So it is what it is. Just a little minor tweaks on that. Add more tutorials. I think that is where Bamboo Labs really comes and they really shine, is that they make it so user friendly, and they got tutorials and stuff like that, that anything that you want to do, that would be nice to have on, like, let's say we go back to the Creality Cloud, and let's say we go to our page, and we got Mission Center, Cloud Storage, Shop with Points. I don't want to shop with points. I got 91 points. But down here, your wallet, your benefits, some of this stuff here, liked, purchased, downloaded creations, all of this stuff. It would be nice, you could search for models, go to their store, search collections, products, downloads, blogs, maybe in the blogs, but it would be nice to be able to have, okay, get that, stop. It would be nice to have something up here or one of the options to be like a video tutorial, a university, so to speak, so that for new people, you could go through and how to load a print, how to adjust settings, how to, add manual supports or enable supports, because some of this stuff, even though it's user intuitive to a certain degree, there's going to be people that are going to have problems with it. And I think that is what's needed here to really make the Creality Cloud thing click for more and more people and make it more user friendly by doing like video tutorials, even if they're just short. Having something that ends up saying, hey, Creality University, here's the classes 101, loading up your prints, adding supports, and then just going step by step to help the user become more knowledgeable and get them more used to doing that, because otherwise they're just kind of floundering around and you're just hoping, well, they'll click a model, they'll load it up, they'll print it, and that'll be it. That's great, but I think more can be done in that aspect. So yeah, kind of some interesting, fun stuff that with the Creality K2 Plus, and it's a great little. Let me get back to here. It's a great machine, at least the one that I got. And I tell you, because I live in Korea, I ordered it from a store that ordered in bulk, and I was able to get a discount and get with the exchange rate, I got it less than for what it was in the United States for the $1,500. But on the other side of the coin, you might be, oh man, that why can't I get a better discount? You can, and if you sign up for Creality and their newsletters and things like that, and then you go shopping or just looking on their site shopping, and you put something in your cart, don't buy it yet, but wait. And what I found is that they'll send you emails and say, hey, you get 5% off, or a certain percentage off. You remember this was in your cart. So you can get a discount on their site and don't have to pay as much. Matter of fact, is that yeah, I know. The official Creality store. Let's take a look at that because I want to show you this. So, don't change. Let me see, do I got that in the right? There we go. So they'll come up and they've got some limited deals. They always seem to have this stuff. Of course, they have, some other stuff besides 3D printers. But if we go to, the spring sale, the combo sales, that will pop up. Make that a little bit smaller. And we see that they're having, the Creality K2 Plus from $12.99, which is the price without the CFS. But if you go down here to the bottom right and you click on the chat thing, and let's say, there it is right there, it says, can I have a discount? And can I have a discount? Click human service and our human agent will handle the case. Some people have told me that they've clicked that and were able to get discounts on some products and materials, stuff like that. And when you sign up for their newsletters, and you put your email address in there, they'll send discount codes and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you got to save money, hey, do what you got to do to save money. That's what it comes down to. So yeah, it's definitely worth signing up, putting stuff in your cart, because they still send me emails because I got stuff in my cart from time to time. Of course now my cart is empty, but yeah, I'll get emails that will say, hey, this is in your cart, you're going to get a discount, and we'll give you a discount or whatever. So yeah, kind of cool stuff. So yeah. Creality K2 Plus is working out really well. When it works so far, I'm crossing my fingers because Creality did have problems in the past with their K1 series, and a lot of, that just kind of bugs me. For those of you who don't know, they had a K1 series. They still do, and it works pretty good. But they initially advertised it with an all-metal gear extruder, which is great. And I don't understand why they print them out of plastic, even though it's carbon fiber or whatever it is that they print these injection molded whatever. I don't understand why they don't do them metal. I would pay extra for an all-metal gear system. So, yeah, but it ended up that they promised all-metal extruder, and then it says will result in 10,000 clog-free print hours. So that was like a selling point. And then as I continued to do research, and then their own influencers that they sent their machines to get reviewed from opened up the extruder and the hot ends and all that stuff and showed that, yeah, it's not all metal. So where did the claim of the 10,000 clog-free hours? So there's a whole thing about that, and that just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. So just be honest. And then they changed their website to take away that all-metal extruder, but they left the 10,000 hours. And then on their Amazon page where they're selling their systems, their machines, they left the all-metal extruder advertisement on there on that machine. And I contacted them and said, hey, this, you don't have an all-metal extruder. And it was months before they changed that. So, yeah, that left me scratching my head, and I wasn't really appreciating the lack of integrity in advertising. Just be true to your word and just be honest. But yeah, they were trying to do that. So with the K2 Plus, it ended up, it was like, yeah, let me take a gamble. Let's see, Matt says, I will say they promised a discount code for leaving a review after I purchased my K2, and they never followed through. Really? Wow. I didn't even get that. Well, I bought mine through a third-party seller, so that's probably why. But I would take them up on their word. Man, contact them. Contact them through their WhatsApp. Seems more people get better responses with their WhatsApp contact than emails or trip tickets or anything like that. So, Matt, you get that discount. I'm all about discount. If it's online, I'll take a screenshot and show you. Boom, you owe me a discount, and they will. I imagine. Just make the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So yeah, just be squeaky, dude. You got to be squeaky. So yeah, I'm loving the 3D printing thing, and matter of fact, I'm going to go through and print some other stuff, tool holders. I told you 3D printing is like crack. They show you all this cool stuff, and then you get the machine, and then what do you print? You print stuff for your machine, like a tool holder. That's crack, and so you need to buy filament, and of course, you buy their filament with the RFID, and it's just this never-ending crack meth addiction, I think, is what it's going to end up being. But yeah, do stuff for your significant other, print stuff for them first, and they will be way more acceptable to your hobbies if you do stuff for them first. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Matt's talking about, yeah, I've heard that as well. Give it a shot. Yeah, about their WhatsApp thing. That's definitely a thing I've seen online. So, and even when I've contacted them on their WhatsApp, I've gotten, their online chat is really good as far as getting information, because I asked about discounts and shipping to Korea, and could I get the discount and have it shipped to Korea. But in all honesty, I was really nervous about that. And the reason is because shipping seems to be the thing that's the problem with the K2 Plus, but others as well. If you've lived in the United States and you've ordered something, UPS comes around, big brown truck or FedEx, and they throw the stuff onto your porch. Your Ring camera picks it up, and your stuff is damaged. That's a thing that we have to contend with in the United States. With that, that's why I was hesitant to order and have it shipped here to Korea. I even asked if I could get it shipped directly from China in Shenzhen to Korea, and they're like, well, you can, but it'd be better to do it through a reseller. They have authorized resellers and stuff like that, and that's where I found the store that I did. And the shipping companies here in Korea are way better. They're almost, they have companies that will pick up your products and deliver them to your house, apartment, whatever. They are way better than UPS, way better than FedEx. Well, they have FedEx here, but the way that the Koreans handle packages is with way more respect. There's a thing where it showed Koreans where the delivery people showed American UPS and FedEx deliveries and how they just throw stuff on the porch and whatever, and the Koreans were like, that's amazing, because they would never do that here. They would get written up for doing that, for throwing your packages onto the porch or near your door or whatever. That is just not something you do. They'll take pictures and show that it's in front of your door, but they don't throw packages. They are very respectful, because there's this review thing, and a lot of people who do the deliveries are contracted. So if you get bad reviews, you'll lose your contract. You'll lose your job. So as a whole, delivery people in Korea are top notch. I mean, I'm talking top notch. And even with the K2 Plus weighing in at what is over 90, probably 100 pounds, with the big old box and everything, the gross weight was easily 100 pounds. And I know the Korean delivery guy, he's like 5'6", maybe 5'7" in boots, and kind of a smaller, slender guy. Yeah, he worked for his money that day. But what we'll end up doing is we'll leave a little bag of goodies out, and people do that here in Korea. So they'll leave stuff out for their delivery people if they got to do a heavy delivery or a lot of packages or whatever. To show their appreciation. Hey, we appreciate your job. We know you're getting paid, but here's a little, here's some coffee, here's some candies, and, whatever it is, moon pies or something. That goes a long way. So anyway, just some of the cool things of living in Korea and doing 3D printing. The next big thing that we're going to be doing is expanding more into Orca Slicer, which if we take a look at that, and I'm not going to go deep into that. Let's see, where are we? The Orca Slicer thing, getting Orca Slicer hooked up into, or your machine hooked up into Orca Slicer. I think Orca Slicer, once they have their own website now, orcaslicer.com, and then I think if they had a tab up here of like a university of small short videos of how to do things, and that would be really cool. But Orca Slicer, it's not as buggy as Creality Print, as the Creality Print software, and the Creality Print software on my Mac flashes from time to time, and it's kind of annoying. But yeah, coming up and learning how to use all this stuff, there's a litany of video tutorials on Orca and a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, and eventually I want to be able to get to, I don't even know if you can do it, if you can connect the camera from your K2 Plus and view it through Orca Slicer. I don't even know if Orca Slicer has an app. Do they? I have no clue. That is a good question. Let me pull it up and see. If anybody knows, put it in the comments section. Orca Slicer. Let's see what pops up. Nope. We got printables, Orca Scan. Oh, barcode tracking. Never mind. Inventory, cheat code, QR code. Okay, yeah, they don't have their own little app. So I guess that answers that question. But it would be interesting as I dive more into Orca Slicer, how this would work and the device. I can go to the hookup. It shows you how you can hook up, but you have to enter in your IP, and then you have to put a certain number after the IP, which I'm not sure why it's not included on this little video tutorial thing that they got here. But I had to look online to do that. So yeah, I think every system every system needs a little bit of a little bit of care and updating, and make the usability something a little bit more than what it is now. So, hey, Kyle's back. Kyle says you can hook up the camera and see it in Orca Slicer, but it does require a bit of messing around with the firmware on the machine. Yeah, I thought that was the case, and I'm just going to be kind of digging into that to try to find that out. Of course, the only thing that would do for me is being able to view it in my desk here while the printer is in the other hobby room, so the studio. So, but yeah, I'm going to be digging into that, and so really I could just monitor the print from here. And let's see, Matt ends up saying, and he talks about they added support for Creality Connect in the last release. You can use that instead of the Clipper version. Yeah, and that's actually, Matt's absolutely right. And I stumbled across that as I was fumbling around in Orca Slicer and, of course, the device thing. And they have a drop-down box menu option to where it says Clipper, and then it's, let me see if I can bring that up. Yeah, instead of the host type, Octo, Clipper, whatever, you click that download box or that menu box, and what pops up is there's a list of a bunch of different things, and then Creality Print is one of those options. And so that's how I was able to connect my machine up and do that. But the webcam thing, how do we do the webcam? That's going to be the next thing. So yeah, webcam, gonna get it one of these days. Device, I don't know. I'll play around with it, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm digging the 3D printer thing. Really getting into it. Like I said, I'm gonna print out a tool holder. Look at that. Doing that today, and trying to find sources. Crack sources. Need to find a dealer because this is it's crack. And I need to do a balance. I'm going to print stuff out for my daughter, print stuff out for my wife, print stuff out for me, and that's going to require filament. So I think I need allowance for 3D printing. So good thing I'm retired, and I have a few nickels saved, so that'll come in handy. But anyway, yeah, I like the Creality K2 Plus. I've had good results with it so far. We'll keep the fingers crossed. There are some things that people have brought up in the Reddits and things like that, especially with the CFS system, saying that they've had problems. Even with the K2 system itself, outside of the CFS, people have said that the Bowden tubes, the PTFE tubes that they use and supply are really thin-walled, and they're just not high quality. And I get it. You're trying to save money and make a buck, but there are some people that have had problems with just using external filament spools and using the little PTF tube that goes into the K2 and or the CFS, which has a number of those tubes. And as soon as people replace those tubes with better quality and thicker walled tubes, and I think a wider or bigger inner diameter on those tubes, those problems went away. Because you're going to get some type of dust. You're going to get some type of, there's the filament going through the tube, that's going to create friction, which is going to create some particles and dust of the filament that you're using. And eventually that can gum up the machine. So if it's really tight, then you're going to get more friction, which is sometimes good. But in this case, that's not good, because that would bring up more, break off more little dust or whatever it is. So yeah, there's some upgrades I'm going to end up doing. Matt ends up saying, I've only been in the space since Christmas. Well, great Christmas present. And we already have 3 printers. I had to get my wife an A1 because she was taking all my print time. So you got her hooked on crack too. You dirty dog, you. Wow. Yeah, my wife's not into that stuff. I mean, she's into this stuff, but she's not really into the, ooh, it's just like pick something out and print it, that's pretty and cute and whatever. She's not the hands-on, let me, print and watch something. It's like, I'm like, ooh, honey, cool, look at this, watch this print. And she's, oh yeah, that's cool. And then, yeah, she just kind of rolls her eyes at me and laughs. Because the simple things, they kind of, I'm easy to entertain. Let's see. Asa Calhoun says, hey there, just got my first printer, Creality Ender 3 version 3 SE, and I'll be trying my first print with Creality Slicer. Do you have any suggested upgrades to the printer for a beginner? No, because the K2 Plus is my first printer. I do have experience with some 3D printing stuff, but it was years and years ago in an industrial setting, and I can't really say. I'd just say, just follow the links and everything. I've heard that machine is pretty good, and he also brings up and says, I've heard you can use an iPhone for a scanner. Is that true? And if so, what software would you suggest? Yeah, you can use your phone, and there's a lot of different apps as far as scanning. Nothing. I did a couple of apps. One was a paid version, one was a free version, but the quality and the results of those scanning, of at least those two different apps, left a little bit to be desired. I do know that Creality does have some scanners. You can look on their website and see some more details. Of course, I wouldn't just look at Creality. I would check some YouTube videos and stuff like that. But yeah, I couldn't suggest any scanning software on a phone right now, only based off of two apps that I've tried. But that was 3 years ago that I looked at that stuff. So there's been a lot of advancements. So I can't help you out with that. I'm sorry. Matt ends up saying, that's why I went with Bamboo, so she can just tap print on the app after picking something on MakerWorld. Yeah, Creality's kind of doing the same thing. I've got an account on MakerWorld, and that's the cool stuff. You can just scroll, find what you like, cute little panda teddy bear, whatever flower thingy, or cosplay sword, Star Wars, whatever. Car part, phone holder, charger, thingy, box, whatever. Click, print, and boom, it goes. And that's really where we're getting to. It wasn't that long ago that 3D printing, that was not a thing. And especially back in my experience before, let's see, when was it? I was 53, 50-ish. I was still working for the Colorado Department for the state of Colorado, and one of the prison systems had industrial trades, and one of the things that they ended up doing was 3D printing. And actually it was a business that used inmate labor and 3D printers to produce medical cast. So if you broke your arm or sprained it, instead of getting a traditional cloth wrapped, plaster cast, they ended up doing the 3D printer, and they ended up using a high-speed scanner. They would scan the individual's arm or whatever appendage, and then they would cut and make that a file, and then they'd send that file to the trades in the prison there. I don't know how they deliver them, through email or whatever, and then the supervisor would take that off of there, put it onto USB, and they'd print it out, and then the inmates would learn how to print, learn how to process, and all of that stuff. And I got to work on some of those machines. But yeah, it's nothing compared to what we have today, like Matt was saying. It is just, oh, I like that, click print. Oh, there's a diorama, click print. There's a rose and vase, click print. It is amazing. And the amount of colors that we have available. This, if I can show you this is what came with my Creality K2 Plus, and these are all the different colors of filaments that they have. So, yeah, is that crazy or what? Let me see if I get this to where it'll kind of look like something. But, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Let me see, focus. You know, all of the different colors is just kind of amazing on what they can end up doing with this stuff. Browns and blues and grays and whites. And I mean, that's a lot of colors there. And so if you're ended up to doing something for yourself, or you're doing a side gig, or, you know, whatever it is, Creality is really coming into their own because they have a ton of products. Of course, so is Bamboo Labs. Bamboo Labs also has this, but I thought this was really cool. And it's got the names of the items on here. So Hyper PLA Gold, you know, it actually gives the names so you can look, see, order, click, print, boom, you're good to go. I mean, I think that's where 3D printing is going to come into play. And as technology gets better and better, you know, remember before there was no input shaping? People don't even know that anymore. But now they have input shaping. And it's just, if you check out my channel on YouTube, you can see I did a live unboxing, and I set the K2 Plus on a folding table, and the thing was like shaking like no tomorrow. And we printed out this benchy, which is like incredible. It was just amazing. So the input shaping and the technology that goes along is just crazy. Oh, man. Wild stuff. Matt, now we're off the topic. Just kind of rambling on. Matt says, I disagree with Bamboo's business practices, but can't deny they moved the industry forward at a much quicker pace than previously seen. Yeah, that's for sure. They did their Kickstarter thing, blew up the 3D printing world, and they just left everybody in the dust. And then, of course, their current business practice of claiming it's your safety and security and having to do authorization and to go through all that stuff. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Fitness Freak. Hey, Fitness Freak. Boom. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Says, should my 3D printer be on a stable surface or does it matter? You know, I put mine on a folding table, and again, I printed this out on a folding table. And as this thing was printing, it was like you could see the table shaking, and it produced some incredible results. So yes, I would highly recommend that you put it on a stable surface. And matter of fact, I'm in the market for a better table because, let me see. Hold on a second. Camera. And we'll see if this ends up working. Oh, is that trippy or what? So, I know you're all going to get like motion sickness here, but stay with me. Because right now, it's on a folding table. And even up against the wall, it still shakes and moves, but it produces some great prints. I am just thoroughly surprised at all of that and what it can do. So, yeah. Okay, let's get back. Where are we? Let's just go back. Where's the camera? Good camera. Okay. I don't know if that came out on the video, but basically what I ended up is just showing you the K2 Plus on a folding table, and it still rocks and rolls, and it still produces some good prints. Kyle chimes in, says, ideally, you want it to be on the most stable surface that you can. Absolutely. And, I mean, I could put it on the floor. I don't have to get a table, but then I have to bend down. But yeah, definitely a stable surface would be a thing. So I'm looking to get, excuse me, kind of an industrial table. with some big metal and a chunky big, slab of wood on it. That's something. And then have, some room for the K2 Plus. And then after that, have some room to process some stuff and store some filament. And yeah, it's have rolls and rolls of your crack. And yeah, it's just going to be a thing. So, but the input, there is no way when I worked for the state or the Department of Corrections in Colorado and the 3D printers that we had back then, that was one of the things that we found out is that you had to have a stable surface. They didn't have folding tables, but they had tables that had a little bit of movement, and because of the printers were bed slingers, that it caused movement, and they didn't have the input shaping like they do today. They had to come in and build basically some beefy workbenches that the legs were connected and secured to the ground and with braces, cross braces, the whole 9 yards. So that way it was super really solid. And then their prints ended up being much better. So, but now, I mean, who would have thought on a folding table as you're watching the table move back and forth and that you would get prints like this stuff? I mean, do you need to? No, but you should. It's just amazing that I'm getting what I'm getting. And it's only going to get better over time. So yeah, but I would. So anyway, that's what we got going on. Really, I'm devouring 3D printing information. I'm watching way too many videos on YouTube, reading way too much stuff, but I'm retired, and so I got some time to do that. But whenever I get into something, I jump into it all the way. I put in an inordinate amount of time into whatever I'm doing. So it's a coping mechanism, PTSD, ADHD, introvert type of thing. Even though I have extrovert tendencies, I used to be an instructor, military, firearms, all that stuff. It's a thing. But yeah, looking forward to doing a lot of cool stuff. So, we're going to continue on with the journey, and we're going to continue learning Orca Slicer. We're going to look more and see how we can get all this, and we'll feature more prints, and we'll do some calibration tests as well. That's probably going to be the next thing, is to do some calibration testing, do a test print, and then do the calibration testing that you can do in Creality Print, their slicer software. Do they have calibration? Yeah, they have temperature, flow rate, pressure advance, retraction, max flow, BFA, speed, acceleration, all of that stuff. And then other slicers, Orca Slicer has basically the same thing, give or take a few, and that you could fine tune your filament. But a lot of people have told me that they just, with the K2 Plus anyway, they just use the generic settings for whatever third-party filament that they're using, and they're good to go. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool to do do an overhang test. And I found a model to do that, so we're going to be doing that and putting that up online. And then just go through the temperature test, temperature tower, flow rate, tolerance test. That's kind of an easy one. So we'll do those three and make some short videos and have some fun. So anyway, yeah, I love it. I love it. And so with that, we're just going to kind of go and there's the desk, there's the coffee, the latte that I got to finish up. Van Can says, I suggest you print a Y adapter for the filament path to handle both the CFS and the side spool. Really? Oh. Hey, if you could put something, I'll have to look that up. A Y adapter for the filament and the CFS. So in other words, I wonder if that's something I could find easily. I'm pretty sure it is. Let's see, Y adapter K2 Plus. CFS Y splitter, is that what you're talking about? There's another one. Ooh, wait a second. So we might have one or two. So let's go back and check what Van was talking about. And with the Creality Cloud, Creality K2 Plus CFS Y splitter. So that's the external spool. So that's the Y splitter, and I'm still not grasping that. PTF E-tube splitter allows you to use external spool and CFS without disconnecting the tubes. That seemed like a good thing. Van, you were the man. There's another one. Let's see what this ends up. Oh, okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Yeah, that. So get some little ends on there. So if it were that, so it's just a simple little, and then you just put in your connectors. Matt says, I printed one of those. It works great if you plan to use both external and CFS. Yeah, I think this would be a good thing for me. I mean, I want to do, I'm going to use the CFS, obviously, but okay, cool. Something to print and search for. And here's the other thing. 6 M3 nuts, M3 pan head, 8mm, M3 socket, 6mm, 2 magnets if you like. Oh, for connecting it onto the thing. Okay, cool. Yeah, I will definitely take a look at that because that is something that would benefit me, I think. That would be good. You guys are awesome. More stuff to print out. Print stuff, need filament to print stuff, need more filament. It's just a never-ending cycle, I guess. So, yeah. Well, cool. Thanks, Van. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. With that said, I think we're going to be done with this one today. So like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. If you have any questions, concerns, there's an email. I answer everybody that emails me, whether it's about 3D printing or, being an American expat in Korea. And Fitness Freak says, off topic, how old are you? You look in great shape. Are you on TRT? And if so, do you mind sharing? Preparing for when I might need to get on it. I am 58. So, yeah, 58, and I was all natural. People are wondering, that means I wasn't taking any drugs or steroids or anything for 54 years. And then I had the symptoms of low testosterone, which is weird, but apparently it's a thing with people who have PTSD in the military. They seem to, one of the things is that results from that is low testosterone. So I got tested for that, and I've been on low T for almost 4 years now. Normal dose, maybe 100 a week, which is low according to my doctor. I just seem to be a good responder, but I know this has nothing to do with 3D printing. But yeah, it's been a godsend. It treats all my symptoms for low T, and it also helps with depression, anxiety, and actually reduces my PTSD in a little bit. It doesn't cure it or anything. That's the gift that just keeps on giving. But yeah, I've known guys that were 20, 30 years old that got on TRT because they had low T symptoms. There's guys that I know that were 60, 70 years old that have higher T than, there's no way they would need it. So the only thing I would recommend is just get a blood test, talk with a doctor, endocrinologist, and and do that. So back on topic, Van says I printed this one, and that's all I can see on your thing. So I'll have to look in the comments. But I'll take a look at that band and really appreciate that because, yeah, that makes total sense. I will definitely print one of those out. Matter of fact, but printing it out, what would it be? Would it be PTEG? Or regular PLA? That is the question I have. I guess it wouldn't really matter because PTEG is for high heat, but I think PLA would be good. So I'll check into that. But definitely, thank you. Appreciate all that. I will jump right on that. That's some awesome stuff. Y splitter, gotcha. Doing it. Definitely going to do it. If other people are watching, you got links to the Y splitter that you printed out and used. Put that in the comment section down below. So when this is posted on YouTube, I'll go back and be able to see the link because on the streaming thing, I can only see so much information. But yeah, I'll definitely check that out and do that. I'm starving. So I got to get some breakfast because it's almost 8:20 in the morning. I need breakfast. I need food. Like, subscribe. These are a bunch of people who bought me coffee, and Lord knows I love coffee and lattes. If you do, that's great. If you don't, like and subscribe. And with that, I think we're going to say adieu, and we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching and the conversations. I really appreciate that. And yeah, good stuff. All right, we'll see you all. Take care. Peace.